He tries never to be alone. He makes 100 acquaintances and shares the chamber of another student. He starts up if he is left by himself in the public room of the inn where he is laying, and runs into the street. People notice his strange actions and begin to think he is mad. But in spite of it all, he is alone once more. For one night, the public room being empty for a moment, when on some idle pretense he strolls to the street is empty too, and for the second time, he feels the cold arms around his neck. And for the second time, when he calls his dog, the animal shrinks away from him with a piteous howl. After this, he leaves Cologne, still traveling on foot, of necessity now, for his money is getting low. He joins traveling hawkers, he walks side by side with laborers, he talks to every foot passenger he falls in with, and tries from morning till night to get company on the road. At night he sleeps by the fire in the kitchen of the inn at which he stops, but do what he will, he is often alone, and it is now a common thing for him to feel the cold arms around his neck. Many months have passed since his cousin's death. Autumn, winter, early spring. His money is nearly gone, his health is utterly broken. He is the shadow of his former self, and he is getting near to Paris. He will reach that city in time for the carnival. Forward. In Paris, in carnival time, he need never surely be alone, never feel that deadly caress. He may even recover his lost gaiety, his lost health, once more resume his profession, once more earn fame and money for his art. How hard he tries to get over the distance that divides him from Paris, while day by day he grows weaker and his steps slower and more heavy. But there is an end at last. The long dreary roads are past. This is Paris, which he enters for the first time. Paris, of which he has dreamed so much. Paris, whose million voices are to exorcise his phantom. To him tonight, Paris seems like one vast chaos of lights, music, and confusion. Lights which dance before his eyes and will not be still. Music that rings in his ears and deafens him. Confusion which makes his head whirl around and round. But in spite of all, he finds the opera house, where there is a masked ball. He has enough money left to buy a ticket of admission, and to hire a domino to throw over his shabby dress. It seems only a moment after his entering the gates of Paris that he is in the midst of all the wild gaiety of the opera house ball. No more darkness, no more loneliness, but a mad crowd, shouting and dancing, and a lovely débarduse hanging on his arm. The boisterous gaiety he feels surely as his old lightheartedness come back. He hears the people around him talking of the outrageous conduct of some drunken student, and it's to him they point when they say this, to him who has not moistened his lips since yesterday at noon, for even now he will not drink. Though his lips are parched and his throat burning, he cannot drink. His voice is thick and hoarse and his utterance indistinct. But still, this must be his old lightheartedness come back that makes him so wildly gay. The little débarduse is wearied out. Her arm rests on his shoulder heavier than lead. The other dancers off by one drop off. The lights in the chandeliers, one by one, die out. The decorations look pale and shadowy in that dim light which is neither night nor day. A faint glimmer from the dying lamps, a pale streak of cold grey light from the newborn day creeping in through half-opened shutters. And by this light, the bright-eyed débarduse fades sadly. He looks her in the face. How the brightness of her eyes dies out. Again he looks her in the face. How white that face has grown. Again. And now it is a shadow of a face alone that looks in his. Again, and they are gone. The bright eyes, the face, the shadow of the face. He is alone. Alone in that vast saloon. Alone, and in the terrible silence he hears the echoes of his own footsteps in that dismal dance which has no music. No music but the beating of his breast. And the cold arms are around his neck. They whirl him round, they will not be flung off or cast away. He can no more escape from their icy grasp than he can escape from death. He looks behind him. There is nothing but himself in the great empty cell, but he can feel, cold, death-like, but oh how palpable, the long slender fingers, the ring which was his mother's. He tries to shout, but he has no power in his burning throat. The silence of the place is only broken by the echoes of his own footsteps in the dance from which he cannot extricate himself. Who says he has no partner? The cold hands are clasped on his breast, and now he does not shun their caress. No. One more polka, if he drops down dead. The lights are all out, and, half an hour later, the gendarmes come in with a lantern to see that the house is empty. They are followed by a great dog that they found seated howling at the steps of the theater. Near the principal entrance, they stumble over the body of a student who has died from want of food, exhaustion, and the breaking of a blood vessel.